Welcome to Barnstable Today. I'm Nick Cortez.
And I'm Kevin Friel. We'd like to remind you right at the top that the meetings we cover are available on demand at the town's website. Log on at www.town.barnstable.ma.us. Time is running out on the holiday shopping season, but for those of you who still have gifts to buy, Barnstable's Weight and Measures Program manager, Kim Connors, has several helpful tips on how to keep you from getting overcharged on your purchases. Nick sat down with Kim earlier this week.
We're talking about holiday shopping today, and I know you have some excellent tips for consumers who might be getting out there now and starting their Christmas shopping, maybe a little bit late, but there's some things that people can look out for that might be able to help them out.
Sure, absolutely. A lot of the tips that we give seem obvious to people, but when people are distracted, busy season, children at the register, they tend to forget these things. And one of the things that we always tell everybody is just be aware of watching the monitor when somebody is scanning, what we call the customer visual display, which is the actual monitor that you can see when an item is scanned, the price will come up. And that actually is a law that was established in 1971 in Massachusetts, that all stores are to have customer visual displays. And one of the things you want to do is if you pick up an item, especially if it's on sale, or even if it's only marked a specific price, or even if it has an additional percentage off at point of sale, you want to make sure you get that discount when it's rung through the register. A lot of people will call and say, I went home and I looked at my receipt. Well, the best time to address that issue is actually at the point of sale. And obviously, if there is a discrepancy, bring it to the cashier's attention. It is the store's responsibility, once again, to honor the lowest represented price. And I may be getting ahead of myself, but interestingly enough, there are stores that if an item is overscanned, they will honor what they call a price accuracy guarantee. And what that is they'll give you the first item free. That would only apply to food and household items. And the only two stores that I know currently that do that would be Stop and Shop and BJ's.
Now, how would you find out if other stores can do that or are willing to do that?
Well, the state law mandates that that particular accuracy guarantee is posted at every single register in order for that store to participate in that program with the state. And certainly that is posted at every register in the local supermarket, Stop and Shop that I am aware of. And if not, then we tell them, of course, they have to put it up, and also BJ's. But once again, I have to specify that that is a store's prerogative whether or not they want to participate in that program. People do get confused that this is a state law. It is not a state law. It is something that they offer. It's up to the individual store to offer that, or individual company to offer that. And once again, that only applies to certain items which mainly are classified as food or household items. So it does not, it's not a universal policy, but it's something that does tie into, in regards to shopping tips. If it does happen to you, you could even take it a step further. Most stores, like I said before, will honor the lowest represented price. Contrary to belief, 99.9% of the errors that are made out there are human errors. Somebody puts up an incorrect sign. Somebody downloads a wrong price in a system. Somebody forgets to take a sale sign down. And certainly that is an understandable situation. It's a human error. However, as a consumer, when you're shopping, you don't always see it that way. But the majority of stores that we deal with, the vast majority, they're very cooperative when we investigate a consumer complaint. Most of the time, the stores would say, well, gee, if the consumer would have just brought it to my attention, we would have remedied it at that point. They didn't have to bring it to the next level.
Now, let me stop you right there, Kim, for a second. Obviously, as we talked about earlier, holiday shopping season can be kind of busy, kind of crazy, and people may just be rushing to get in and get out, and they realize once they get home that they maybe were overcharged, or they feel like there's some type of price discrepancy. Do they still have the right or the ability to come back and dispute that charge?
Absolutely.
And if that's the case, which you said it is, what do they need to do to make sure that they're well armed to remedy that situation?
Well, certainly the better documentation you have and the quicker you react would be most beneficial. Obviously, the best case scenario is that you address that situation while you're still at the store. If you have already gotten home and you found that you were overcharged, the best thing to do is bring that item back, because most of the time that item will have a ticket price on it, or if there was a flyer or whatever. Bring as much information back to that location and your receipt, obviously, and show them the discrepancy. Obviously, if it's not remedied, we always encourage the public to call us, and we're more than happy to be involved. The longer you wait, though, you could go back and the displays have been dismantled, the signs are down, and you really, at that point, don't have all the pieces to the puzzle for your recourse that you should have. You know, I tell people constantly, I know how busy you are at the point of sale, but it is very important to watch it because that is the best time to nip it in the bud. Be aware of, was there a sign for 20%? Was there a flyer? And make sure that that is what you're being charged. I know of situations where people would say to me, I purposely went into that store with that item in mind. So they had the flyer in hand. They were well-equipped, well-equipped shoppers. And a lot of people will say, well, once again, that's an error on the store, and get a bad taste in their mouth for the store, not realizing, once again, this is human error, and certainly the stores that we deal with are more than happy to come into compliance, and always do when we have brought this to their attention.
Now, I think from your perspective, that's an interesting one, because I know in my experiences, shopping for my family or shopping with my family, you see a discrepancy on the receipt, and you're like, I don't want to go back to the store, I don't want an adversarial experience. But you say that most stores are generally happy and willing to help.
A lot of people are reluctant to bring an error to somebody's attention, whether it be they don't want to make a fuss, or maybe they think that maybe they've made a mistake. But certainly, most of the stores that we deal with are more than happy to address that issue, make it right. We hear all the time, well, if they bring it to our attention, we'll make it right. And they don't want to have a bad reputation, and certainly they don't want a phone call made to us. And I've had experiences, even on a personal level, where they've been more than accommodating. So it certainly behooves the consumer to point that out to them. And not only that, especially in the times of the way the economy is now, everybody's watching every penny, every dime. And if it's a dime on a can of soup or $25 on a sweater, it certainly adds up. And what people don't realize is that may have happened to you, but if you don't say anything, it's going to happen to 10 other people behind you, and it happened to 10 people before you. So it really should be brought to their attention. And I've found also that, especially in this area, in the Cape Cod community area, it is a very small-knit community, and word spreads. And whether you're a big chain or a small chain, they don't want to have negative publicity or negative word of mouth. So that's what we find, that they're more than willing to come into compliance with that.
Well, some important holiday tips if you're doing your last-minute Christmas shopping or any kind of holiday shopping, and definitely plenty of good things to keep in mind here. So, Kim Connors, thank you very much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
For more of Kim's consumer tips, check out this month's edition of the Barnstable Bulletin, which is available on the town's website. Again, that address is town.barnstable.ma.us.
Well, that's all the time we have for now. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on Barnstable Today.